Hey, this is Keith. How are you doing? I'm in my kitchen here and I am making lunch, and I was sitting here opening this coconut getting ready to start lunch, and I thought, or I'd been wanting to actually do a video response to Mahanomi's how to stay warm in winter basically. And I don't want to disagree with him because he says to go over to cooked food, and you don't really have to do that. You can stay raw. You just need to take on a strategy. But I do want to point out, I'm not calling him wrong. I get where he's coming from with his videos and stuff, and he's saying, I've heard the essence is just to avoid that raw food dogma. And I am a 100% raw foodist. Yes, I am. I was trying to think if I've got a few little holes in there, but I don't. From time to time, I've tried quinoa and stuff like that, but cooked food sits heavy in me. I'm not down with it. My whole constitution basically says that I can get away with it, and I have been getting away with it, and I've never had an issue. I live, if you see how I'm dressed here, it's because my house is about 58 degrees. I live in the mountains. We've got 5 inches of snow on the ground, and so, hey, who better to tell you how to stay warm, 100% raw, than me. So anyways, in this, I want to tell you how to open up a raw, or how to open up a mature coconut, because I've seen all kinds of weird ways that people do coconuts. And anyways, I already started this, but basically what you want to do is take the screwdriver and put it into, there's always one hole. There's 3 holes, and there's always one that pops. One of the 3 will go in just by hand strength. Then I take the screwdriver, and I'll go ahead and I'll pop this hole right here. I take it just like that, and then you completely drain out the water into the blender, just like that, which I've already done. That's when I realized I wanted to do a video. Okay, now here comes the tricky part. People do all kinds of crazy things. I've heard somebody say, oh, at this point I take it and I put it into a bag and I break it into 1,000,000 pieces. Very easy, watch. Okay, there's that. And basically it's the circular shape that holds the meat in there, so you want to break it into smaller pieces. So at this point you break these up into these smaller pieces like that, and you take a spoon and you just go into the edge like that. And this coconut, sometimes you're going to have a hard time with them. This coconut so far has been pretty easy. You may have to work on every one, and you've got to watch out for the sharp pieces if it's tough, as this piece is, because they'll cut into your hand because they get very sharp. So there we go. And you want to just break it into those small pieces like that. Basically I just use half and then save the other half. And this is like the kind of stuff I'm talking about right here, where you want to watch out for that, because that'll rip a hole in your skin. So getting more fats into a soup. Yes, I agree with soup. Eat soup in the wintertime, but keep it raw, because raw is, depending on who you go to, 110, 118 degrees. That's warm. That's really, really warm, and so you don't need to go into the cooked world at all to stay warm. So here we go. Okay, we're going to turn this into a cream, and basically what you want to do is get this all into small pieces, and the coconut needs to go in there first, all by itself, because what's going to happen if you don't do it that way, and you start putting a bunch of stuff into your blender, little chunks of coconut are going to hang in there because it's very tough to break out. And you know what happens in the blender is you get this whirling action. So if the coconut's only in there by itself, it keeps pulling down inside to the blades, and you get this really fine cream. Now if you do it with all the other stuff, like the way we've seen people do smoothies and stuff, that same action pushes out as well as pushes in. So all these little tiny pieces are going to just keep floating around. So if you do it all by itself with the water, it's going to work out great. So just go ahead, and the coconut water's already in there. And I do want to tell you that there is essentially, coconuts can go up to a very high temperature before and still stay raw. And the reason we're raw is not for the sake of eating cold food, is because certain foods start to break down and lose their nutritional value. So I'm gonna put that in there, and then what I'm using for the water is my tea that's in here, my South American stuff, which is Pau d'Arco, Cat's Claw, Katuba, and the one I forget how to say, Huera Mucuna, or whatever the fuck it is. So, and then I have a Caparaci in here, and 2 caps of chaga. So in that goes and like I say, you just want to run this on high for a long time to turn it into cream. And we just want to let that go for a while until it turns. Okay, so here it is as cream, and it's a little bit brown because of course I put the Pau d'Arco tea and stuff in there. And it's a little watery because I'm putting other stuff in there. My soups that I create are to feed my body, so they always wind up going green. And you know, I put cilantro in there, and somebody was asking me about Chinese herbs, about the pollution, that potential for pollution that's in Chinese herbs, because China's polluted. So the benefits of taking herbs far outweigh the negatives. So what you want to do is you want to put other things into your body that are going to help take that stuff back out. And those things are like coconut butter, cilantro, it takes out metals, chlorella takes out metals, seaweeds take out metals. So you should just in general, especially if you live in the city, you should be keeping those things in your diet, because heavy metals and stuff like that is all in the exhaust and all that, and the airflow, especially if you're in a big city, the airflow is horrible. By big city I mean skyscrapers like San Francisco and stuff like that. So anyway, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to start adding the other ingredients. And for me, a big one is celery, because I don't do salt. So I've muscle tested myself, and my body doesn't like salt that much. And celery has a natural salt to it. So I'm going to break that down. Okay, that's close enough. You just keep breaking this. One whole bunch of cilantro, because that's where it starts giving you the detoxifying of the metals. You need to eat. I eat a bunch every day for the most part. So I don't take out the stems. I'm going to show you a technique for the blender might start binding up. So I'll show you how I take care of that. As it's already done, so what you do, put the Vitamix on high and go like this. There it goes. Learned that trick from Giuliano, was watching him do something, I don't know, but that works great when stuff is so thick that it won't turn over. You just jerk that and then shake the bubble out so it comes to the top, because that's why it's not spinning, is because it's lifted up. Burdock root, that's what burdock root looks like. Excellent blood purifier, hard to find raw, although my health food store does have it. So, and by raw I mean alive and okay, and we want warming foods in here because the soup is warming, onion is warming. So garlic is warming. And at this point I would usually be putting ginger in here, but I am trying to rebuild my yin jing. I have total issues with hydration, as I've talked about. And in talking with Truth in person, I was talking about that at this party I was telling you about. I had no idea that ginger is drying, so ginger's out of my repertoire. So that much garlic, as much garlic as you can stand because it's warming. 1 carrot for beta carotene. The reason I do soups also a lot is because the food is much more bioavailable. Okay, the other thing that you want to add in here, which you could have put in earlier, but I'm just like kind of doing this on the fly, is what I call exotic fats. And they help you to, I feel like it helps you like dense up. When I started adding these fats in here, and there's the amount I'm going to put in, a huge amount. And you could throw a little ghee in there if you wanted, which I'm going to do. So, a little ghee. Not necessarily vegan, so you can skip curry, cumin. This is the stuff I have available right now in my house. Organic thyme from Mountain Rose Herbs. You can't really go wrong with thyme. I'm putting like that much in there. You can't overdo that one. Cumin. I like a lot of cumin, like 3 tablespoons. It just really makes stuff taste like Middle Eastern, Vietnamese, Thai, whatever. I'm eyeballing it as I always do. And then some curry. All these are from Mountain Rose Herbs and they're all 100% organic. So that's a great thing about Mountain Rose Herbs is do yourself a big order and get all this stuff, because basically what you pay for 3 of these things, which is only like 1.8 ounces, you get a whole pound of it for like 3 of these. So got the curry in there. We'll go with a little bit of dill in there. A little bit of apple cider vinegar, Bragg's for the sour. Your call, more the better. So I love a lot of sour, so if you don't, just do a couple tablespoons or whatever to get that represented. And one final thing you want to stick in there to get this thing nice and creamy is avocado, and you want to put this in there last because it goes really. And this is going to be really rough getting this to turn over now because it's really thick. And if you wanted to at this point, you put a little chia seed in there, a tablespoon, a teaspoon. This is going to be our final blend right here. Hell, I might as well do a little chia, why not? For a good warming one is the cayenne pepper. Put as much in there as you can stand. Really good thing to put as much as you can stand in there. Not all the time, but sometimes just for circulation and stuff like that. So I love hot stuff. I eyeball that, and if you have an issue with that, you definitely want to control that. Okay, that is some really thick soup there. Look at that. And I did that all without a plunger. It's just using the technique. Here's the soup. I'm going to do one more thing I like to do that makes it fun for me, because spirulina on top. Some kind of oil in there. I just got a good deal on some sort of expensive McNutt oil. Just take that and do that like that. And you could put some hemp powder on there if you had it. Some other stuff. So here we go. This is really good stuff. So hey, one thing I forgot to mention, I'm on my second helping, is to warm up your soup, put that blender on high and leave it go for a while. That'll warm that stuff up. Or you could put it in a double boiler, and then basically when it's really, before it's like painfully hot to your finger, it's still raw. So, and I eat 1 meal a day. I basically eat that whole blender. I'm already on my second helping later on.